Good evening and welcome. It's yet another time that we are having a conversation, the normal conversations that we've just started around the vote. Nikura coming up in 2022, and that is what people are really talking about on the ground. And today we are glad to have one of the opinion leaders from Tiaty. This is one of the leaders who recently was on the media saying that this time round, kura ya Tiaty ni nikupe, nipe nikupe. Ama maybe tuandikishane, then we can discuss how that vote will be used to make the decision that would see the leadership of the day in 2022 for the people of Baringo County. I'm your host, Komen SK, and here is the conversation that we've always had. Karibu sana, Reverend.
Thank you, SK.
You were the highlight of the week, and I think that informed the reason why we are having this conversation today.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, and to you, the viewers, this is a conversation that gives you an opportunity to contribute to what people are discussing out there. Ni nani atakuwa governor, ni nani atakuwa senator, MCA, women rep, MP, and even the president when that time comes. And this platform gives you an opportunity to discuss, chambua, and also give your opinion on how well you will use your vote. And today, Reverend Kiuta is here with us to discuss the vote with regards to the Tiaty region in Baringo County. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Reverend.
Yes.
Salamu kwa Pokot, unasalimia naji?
Karam.
Karam.
Yes.
Alafu unajibu vipi?
Karam nyoman.
Karam nyoman.
Yes.
Karam mheshimiwa.
Karam nyoman.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Okay, so Reverend Kiuta, who is Reverend Kiuta?
Reverend Kiuta is a gentleman from Churo, in Churo location, Tangud Bay, Churo division actually, Tiaty East sub-county, Tiaty constituency, and of course in Baringo County. I was born and raised in Churo. That is actually my home place. And I also went to school right there, Churo Primary School. And after that, I proceeded to Marigat Secondary School.
Marigat was existing by then?
Yes. We were actually among the pioneers.
Which year was that?
That was 1981 to 1984. After that, I proceeded to Kabarnet High School for A-level, finishing in 1986. And immediately after that, job opportunities were so many. I was employed by the Teacher Service Commission as untrained teacher.
UT, they used to
UT,
call it that time.
yes.
Yeah.
And I was posted to Tangul Bay Primary School, where I taught for 1 year. And then after that, I was assigned responsibilities to go to Chemolingot secondary school, which was just beginning. And alongside another teacher who was also an headmaster of a primary school. So he was the head teacher and I was the deputy of Chemolingot secondary school. And then after that, I had a calling to serve the Lord in full-time ministry. So in May 1989, I went to Scott Theological College, currently Scott Christian University in Machakos, where I went to pursue my bachelor's degree in theology. And then, finishing 1993, going back to Churo and served among my people then.
Yeah. I think growing up, you could hear Kiuta. There was another reverend from the Ilchamus community.
Yes.
I don't remember his name.
Ole Salaja?
There's another one, Nashuru.
Oh, Nashuru.
I think there was a Nashuru at
Yes,
that time.
Nashuru was there.
If it was not Kiuta anafunga harusi,
Then Nashuru.
it was Nashuru.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, serving in the ministry, that is that was your passion.
That was my passion.
So you've been with which church?
I have been with Africa Inland Church. And actually, what informed my desire to serve the Lord in full-time ministry is that I come from a very humble background. And throughout my education, especially in high school, from secondary school to A level, the Lord intervened in my life and provided for my education. So after finishing, there was this great burden in me. What should I do in return to what the Lord has done for me? And that is why I decided to serve Him full time. So I was definite that I had a calling from God. Yes. And of course, I'm married. Yeah, married, and with 5 children. My 3 of my children are already adults. One is married. I'm now a proud grandfather of 2. Yes, and so that is who Reverend Simon Kiuta is. And then, of course, as I continued with ministry at Churo, I did it up to 1997, and then I went for further studies to Nairobi Evangelical Graduate School of Theology, currently Africa International University at Karen, Nairobi, where I did my master's degree in divinity. Finishing in 2000, went back to Churo to serve. Actually, I was serving in various positions. Chaplain of the school, a school that we just started with the help of missionaries of Africa Inland Mission, and also served as the chairman of the Churo DCC. And I did up to 2002, when God opened an opportunity for me to come to Kabarnet High School as the chaplain.
Wow.
And there I served for 5 years. And in 2007, you know, when the retired late President Moi was still alive, we used to sit under trees within his compound, taking lunch, or at times even supper. And he was inquiring from me what need to be done to curb cat rustling in Tiati. And I could share my thoughts, how maybe it could be done. And he actually encouraged me to vie for the Tiati parliamentary seat.
So that sounds like the point where your political ambitions began.
Okay.
I think we'll still come to that.
Yes.
Transitioning from a teacher and trained teacher. Did you go to college to train
No,
as a
no,
teacher?
no. I went now straight to train as a theologian, yes.
Okay. So transiting from teaching to preaching, how was the transition like? And I can see you've been serving, you served a lot during, or rather for a period of almost 20 years. 1989 to 2002.
Yes.
That is all that time you were in Churo, Tiati.
Yes, exactly.
How was the transition like, and the reception even with the gospel among your people down there?
Yeah, thank you, SK, for that. I can actually confidently say that the ministry we carried out in Churo had a significant impact, to the extent that Churo area, all the way to Amaya, the word of God has really penetrated. And there you have many Christians at the moment, many young men and women who have gone to school, and a number of churches have come up there. And we were even privileged to actually start 2 secondary schools. That is Churo Secondary School, which was a mixed school, and later on came up with a Churo Girls Secondary School. So we really had a significant impact among our people, and a number of young men and women even, decided to join Bible colleges And so Churo, in the entirety of Churo, we have probably more pastors than any other region within Tiaty. So I can actually say that God used us in a very special way to impact our people. And that is why even as I speak, Churo area, as much as many people think that when you go to Tiaty, everywhere is cat rustling and banditry, that one is unheard of in Churo area. Yeah.
Does that sounds like, you know, from what you can see, there's a pattern among the people who received the gospel, even from the missionaries. You can see a trend. They are either well educated, or they could be people who are enlightened. Wamepata hata mali kidogo hapa kule. So it looks like there's a correlation between enlightenment and retrogressive activities like cattle rustling.
Yes, exactly.
In your opinion, what can the gospel do with regards to resolving cattle rustling in Tiaty?
In fact, thank you, SK, for that good question. I know, of course, you will ask me questions later on regarding either I would want to contest or not. But can you imagine the very reason that prompted me to contest for the parliamentary seat in 2007 and also in 2017 was specifically to make a contribution toward curbing cat rustling through disarmament of the mind.
Disarmament of the mind.
Yes, and also disarmament of the soul, of the spirit. What I mean by that is that you know, all along since Moi's era, that is the time I knew what was happening when I was in primary school. The government, the central government in particular, has always employed the same method and same process trying to curb cat rustling, but they have never succeeded. And you know, and therefore, what I strongly believe, and that is why I was really wanting to be at the helm of leadership in Tiaty all those years. I was trying to at least unseat those that were there. Is that so that I work very closely with the churches, since I'm a pastor and a believer. Because what has happened in Churo, in Tangul Bay, in Chemolingot, is what is also needed to happen in Asilale,
in areas
in Kapedo, the enriched areas. Because you see, SK, you can disarm a gun. That has been done severally. But in fact, the more you disarm them, the more they seem to buy. Because probably somebody is giving you an old gun. The best is to disarm the mind. And how do you do that? Through education.
Disarm the mind.
Disarm the mind.
Well, for those who don't know where Churo is, it is almost the border of Samburu County. You know, Baringo borders about 8 counties, and to the north there is Turkana County. To the northeast, I believe there is Samburu, and also to the east we have Laikipia County. So Churo is almost at the border, and those are some of the places where you would expect cattle rustling to be rampant. But here you've heard from Reverend Kiuta, it's a bit, cattle rustling is unheard of. Those are his words. And it is because of the enlightenment that the community has gotten within that place. And his opinion is, we need to disarm the mind. Well, you are watching. Should you have a comment, you can write it on the comment section. I will be checking your comments from my computer here. And should you have a question to Reverend Kiuta, you can drop it there as well. And if you have if you wish to use WhatsApp or a message, you can text us on 0799 030 030. We are live on YouTube and Facebook, and we would be here for the next 1 hour. Reverend.
Yes, please.
We'll still come up to back to where you're talking about the correlation between the disarmament of the mind and the security situation in the county.
Yes.
Let's transit from your teaching, we've gone to your ministry, and now the interest in politics. That sounds like that is the point where you started engaging on issues leadership.
Yes.
Of course, the political leadership, and you've been a leader all through anyway. So after 2007, did you vie?
2013, I didn't vie.
You didn't vie.
And actually, you know, the first governor wanted me to be his running mate.
Ah.
Yes, seriously.
Mheshimiwa Cheboy.
Yes, and I declined.
Why?
I specifically declined because, you see, after 2007, contesting and not making it. You know, KANU then, 2007 was smelling like something else. So you could not be elected anyway. And I'm sure even that time, Honorable Gideon was not elected also because we vied on a KANU ticket.
Yes, that is when he lost his Baringo central seat, yes.
Having little children who are going to school, you see, the position of a deputy governor, you are not certain, my friend. There are no parameters. There is nothing. You know, somebody tells you, be my running mate. You cannot raise funds yourself because you are not even sure if you will ever, if you will stick with you. So I say no.
Do you regret that decision?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
So you didn't vie to that.
And actually, after that, after I declined the Cheboys, the current governor approached me. Again that same time.
Then that sounds like you kuna kitu kwa kikwetu pale wanaita uko na uso.
Uso ya hiyo sasa sijui. But I still declined, of course. I knew, of course, Cheboy was a front runner. If I had declined, you know, a front runner's request, what of somebody who is struggling?
So that was still in 2013.
Yeah, so I did not contest for the parliamentary seat.
Yeah.
And again, my late brother who was killed, Engineer Pepe, is actually my brother-in-law.
Oh, really?
We've married from the same family.
Sorry for that.
Yeah, and so I said, why should we compete and we are brothers? So I let it go.
So 2007.
Yes.
You were still working with the Kabarak University, or was it Kabarak?
No, Kabarak High School. Actually, Museum himself sponsored me for the 2007 campaigns. He was so keen that I should win that thing, and actually sponsored Professor Lonyangapo on the other side.
Which he won.
No, he didn't win that time. We all lost, actually. Because according to Mzee, since Lonyangapo is also a Christian, he said he will impact the people of West Pokot. This one will impact the people of East Pokot. Yeah, that was Mzee's thought.
Which was brilliant.
Brilliant, yes.
Because where the gospel is really, I think we can see a lot of impact.
Exactly.
So at what point did you leave Kabarak High School? Because
after
I was looking at your CV, I think Pia, you got involved in Kabarak University.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, after the 2007 elections, I asked Mzee if I could cross over. You know, I had said bye-bye to high school. And Mzee still wanted me to go back there. But I said, why don't I go to the university? And he granted me that chance. And that is why I started teaching at Kabarak University after 2019.
Oh, that's so recent.
Yeah.
Wow. So, siasa. How has your journey been in politics and balancing it with serving in the church?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very interestingly, SK, that's a very good question. You know, my fellow pastors and even fellow Christians ask me, how do you balance? But what I can tell you is this: when you have a calling from God, and whatever you desire to do, you consider it a calling from Him, you always need to know that you are in full-time ministry. Because what does the Bible say? You know, you are the salt and the light of the world. So even our political sphere shouldn't be permeated with the salt and the light of Christ. So as for me, I don't know someone else. I have never, there are challenges in politics. It has always said that politics are a dirty game. Of course, there's a lot of that. But when you make a resolution to remain faithful to God, even in that muggy, field, I can tell you, you'd still stand firm. Because I've not seen the difference so much. Because my desire has been, well, if elected an MP, I should take it as a missionary work to my people. That God is sending me to make a difference in my community. Yes?
Yeah.
So, yes, there are challenges, but for all that time, I have stood firm in my faith, and I have made a vow with my God that in whichever area, wherever I am, I should always serve you faithfully.
And that brings us to the conversation around politics and the church.
Yes.
And actually on Monday, we'll be hosting Bishop Kotut.
Oh, yes.
We should have been having him here today, but we thought yours is quite lengthy,
yes.
And we may not exhaust everything on the same plate, or rather within the period 1 hour. So in your opinion, what can you say about the involvement of the church in politics and leadership?
Now, what I can say is this. First and foremost, the political arena has been perceived as a dirty field. But let me tell you, that is actually the creation of politicians. Why? Because they would want to close everyone out. They will always tell a pastor or church people, hey, concentrate with your church work and leave politics to politicians, because politics is dirty. But let me ask you, SK, when you become a member of parliament or a governor, what the people expect of you is not for you to abuse them. It's not for you to intoxicate young people.
Neither are they expecting you to steal their funds.
Exactly. Yeah. They would want you to provide services, service delivery in the sector of water, health, education, and what have you. Where are the abuses? Where is the dirt there? And therefore, what I can say is this: destructive politics is what is sinful and wicked. Constructive politics is in line with the law.
And maybe also looking at how we are made.
Yes.
Even the Bible itself talks about every minute we fall short of His glory.
Yes.
And we need to repent.
Yes.
Which means in whatever point you're serving, whether you are a reverend, you're a pastor,
yes.
you are in school, you're in church, you're in politics, at the end of the day, you'll still need to repent.
Yes.
Really. So there is no place that you would say, hapa ni pasafi, hapa ni
pabaya. And actually, SK, in as far as I'm concerned, if there are people who have let this country down, it is the church. Wow. Do you know why? Kenya, according to statistics, are 80 to 85% Christian. All right?
Yeah.
And apart from leaders, political leaders who are Muslims or Hinduists or whichever other religion, most of our leaders, MCAs, MPs, governors, and everybody, they go to church. Every pastor, it's incumbent for every pastor to pastor their political leader and correct them. Because we are respected. But the unfortunate thing is that we fall to the trap of being mere followers, and even at times we servants of God, we become sycophants of political leaders, extending our hands for handouts, and we lose our moral authority. I tell you, if the church would stand its ground and say, politicians, you have to fear the Lord, and you have to do your politics in line with the Constitution. Constitution has nothing wrong. All of us have the right to vote and to be voted. If we were doing everything in line with the Constitution, there is nothing wrong with it. Christians could even vie, and that very dirt that is being talked about may not even be there. But of course, our politicians have tried their level best to make it so dirty so that nobody comes closer. And yet, why do you make it so dirty, and then when you come to church, you want to be brought closer to the altar? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, politics and the church, we can have it at that.
Yes.
Is there a position that you're serving in currently, and what are you doing at the moment?
At the moment, I'm serving at Africa Inland Church Rafiki. You came the other time.
Yes, we were there.
This is a church that, by the grace of God, as I was teaching at Kabarnet University, we founded with some other believers there. In 2009, we had only 10 members, but currently we are talking of 700 members. So I'm serving there as the senior pastor. We have other pastors also.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is in the ministry.
That is in the ministry.
How about kazi za serikali? Do you have a position? Are you serving in a position?
Oh, yes.
I could see sometimes your name appearing on the Gazette notice.
Yes.
Appointed director.
Now, I've been privileged, probably one of the rare privileged clergymen, because in 2009, I was appointed a director with Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, where I served for 6 years, 3 years net renewed. And then afterwards, in 2016, I was also appointed a director with Postal Corporation of Kenya, where I served for 1 year and resigned to join politics in 2017. Currently, I'm serving at Water Resources Authority, the former Warma. Yeah, and that's where we are. That's where I am.
I see.
Yes.
So I can see, I think you are one person who has a lot of experience on the politics and the church, and I think we'll need to bring you on board some other times where we can discuss that. Now, to the politics of Tiaty.
Yes.
There's a clip that we'll be going to play in a few seconds, but before that,
yes,
let me see if there's any question that we can reach, or rather a comment or a question. I can see Nehemiah Chepcheng anasema kwamba I wish to ask about harmful cultural practices that promote cattle rustling. I think that's something that we'll discuss when we go into the conversation about the politics of Tiaty. Let me see if there are any other comments that have been sent around. I think that is the only which has come up so far. So on Saturday we were in Chemolingut.
Yes.
There was an event there.
Yes,
and
exactly.
when you got an opportunity to speak, you said for a while Tiaty has been wooed as a top-up.
Yes, exactly.
And this time round the game has changed.
Yes.
Form ni nipe
nikupe.
So maybe fundi wa mitambo, they can play that video, then we can pick it up from there.
Mimi pia ni opinion leader katika Tiaty. Na kuna message wana Tiaty wanatutuma. Na ningependa tukutoa tangazo tu, si mmesemekana kuna siasa. Tangazo. Na hii tangazo inaenda kwa viongozi wa ngazi 4 next year. President, Governor, Senator, Women Rep. Chona pa MP yongo MCS kusete ja kupchona minye shida jona. Tangazo ni hii ya kwamba kila wakati ifikapo wakati wa kura za Tiaty imechukuliwa ni kama kura soza. Mtu anaomba kura zake kama ni governor kule Ravine, Kabaratonjo, alafu anakuja kujazia ya Tiaty. My friends, form 2022 ya Tiaty. Nipe nikupe. Hakuna ya bwerere. Kwa sababu sisi pia tuko na haki hata mbele za Mungu kama Tiaty kupata haki yetu. Na pia kule national tuko na haki. Ndani sasa unaona watu wakuu wanaanza kukutana na viongozi aina. Hata yule wa UDA tunataka kukutana na yeye. Kwa sababu hatuwezi kila wakati kupeleka watu mbele alafu tunarushwa katika kaburi la sahau. Lazima utuambie umetufanyia nini na utatufanyia nini na tuandikiane. Bwana asifiwe. Hiyo ndio form ya 2022. Na tutakuwa macho, kulala, hakuna kulala tena. Wajinga wakerefuka, mwerefu yu mashakani. Tumerefuka. Next year tuonane. Form nipe nikupe. Bwana asifiwe.
Yeah, that's the truth of the matter.
Yeah, well, you've watched the clip, and Reverend here is very particular. Na anamalizia na kusema Bwana asifiwe. Were you endorsing your comments?
Yes.
Tuandikishane, nipe nikupe. What did you mean?
Thank you. At least I have time to explain what I meant.
Yeah.
SK for quite some time, especially after devolution. We may not necessarily talk about before devolution.
Yeah.
That was a very complex system. But after devolution, every community in one way or another should at least gain resource-wise and also even positions of leadership and employment. So what I meant was this. As for now, Tiaty people are a worried lot, simply because, let me just give you some statistics. In the first county government by Honorable Cheboy, we had one senior position, a speaker of the county assembly.
That was Mheshimiwa
Kamket. And at least we felt like, yeah, we belong. Later on, and one, of course, there were the normal, CECs and CEOs, they are like normal.
Yeah.
You give every...
you balance in
every sub-county.
Yeah.
But the other positions like the directors, those are senior positions. During Cheboy's time, we were given one.
One director.
Only one director. But even that was better. During this second term by Honorable Kiptis, we had now a deputy governor, deputy speaker, who served midway. He was impeached. And to show you
that's actually your MCA.
That was my MCA.
A major
Yes, and to actually show you that there is a deliberate plan to close us out from Baringo County. What happened is that instead of replacing with an MCA from Tiaty, the position was replaced with somebody else from, I think, Mogotio.
Yeah.
And then during Honorable Kipti's tenure, which is almost coming to an end, he employed more than 10 directors. I'm not talking of ECD people and these smaller positions. 10 of them, no one single person from Tiaty. And therefore, you don't need a Jewish prophet, SK, to almost predict what may become when the third governor comes in, whom we don't know who. There's a likelihood that we may not even we may not have a deputy speaker's position because we no longer even own it now. And who knows, maybe even the CECs, the two CECs will be clipped and we have one. And that is why we are saying, this time round, we also have a right. We belong to this county. There's no other county we are going to. And therefore, any serious candidate, even those that have been there like Cheboy and Kiptis, they have to rewrite a contract with us. Why? Because earlier on, there was nothing written. Somebody tells you during campaigns, okay, when I get there, Tiaty, I'll give this, only to turn into hot hair. And therefore, any serious candidate should write what they intend to give us in terms of positions, and also in resource allocation. I'm sure our MCAs know better what is given to every ward. So it's we should not be taken for granted as if our vote does not matter. And I believe SK, this is the cry of Tiaty, but I'm sure even other sub-counties are crying. I'm sure even South Baringo, the Jamus community, and even the Ntorois community, probably they may be sailing the same boat with us. So mambo ya kuandikiana, my friend, itaendelea. And after all, it is not starting with the county. You see, even nationally, the UDA leader, deputy president, is having meetings with people from different regions who come and hear their views and also their desires, if he comes, their interests. Same with Raila, So it is, my friend, it's a dispensation of nipe nikupe. Hakuna maneno ya bure.
I think that term would even, or rather that slogan, would resonate even well, because Tiaty recently was leading in the new number of registered voters. there was an additional 6,000.
Yes.
Almost 7,000.
Yes.
And from the previous year, I think from 2017, Tiaty had,
I think,
29,000.
Yes.
So adding 6,000, that goes to 35.
Yeah.
It is already beating Baringo South.
Yes.
And Mogotio.
Yes.
So Tiaty is coming almost third.
Yes.
In terms of the number of votes.
Yes.
So by maybe going back to Nipe Nikupe, are you looking at getting positions in exchange of, or rather, would you want to be promised positions, or would you want to be guaranteed positions even before 2022 August 30th?
You see, when somebody is already there, he whatever you talked verbally becomes null and void. You have, even if it's not written and taken to the public, but at least for a serious candidate, at least the leadership of Tiaty, okay, those aspiring to be MP, you know, also MCAs and all this, we need at least to have a green light of, when you get there, what are you likely to consider us for? Because you see, there are positions which are at the discretion of the governor, all right?
Yeah.
And I tell you, the governor is a very influential person, especially if you get a governor who knows what they are doing. They can actually influence and actually stand as a mediator within the county. You know, he is the boss of the county, and by extension, like a father to everybody within the county. And therefore, if you get somebody who would want to balance and consider ethnic balancing, regional balancing, gender balancing, you know, they will do the right thing. Yeah.
So what positions are you looking at as Tiaty, in your opinion?
And now, if you got me right, first and foremost, those executive positions of CEC and CEO, we almost believe that every sub-county should be given.
Get a share.
But you know, my friend, for Tiaty, you cannot guarantee. The way we have been treated, you cannot guarantee. Even those very positions can be taken away from them. So even those ones should remain and add more if possible. And then now, even the positions of a county secretary, is it a preserve of a certain community? Even the people of Tiaty or the people of Viljamus should have it. Why is it that it is only given to one community? Yeah, why?
Well, you were given an opportunity to be a running mate sometimes back.
Yes.
Is that one of the positions you people are looking at as a bargain?
You see, SK, there is no, okay, let me use it. No, there's no Tugen leader who will want to take a Pokot. Taking a Pokot now is a liability because of the way we have been profiled and branded.
Profiled and branded.
Cat rustlers. So if you contest to be a governor and then you say, I'm taking Reverend Cuta, the reaction may not be the best. Yeah, I can assure you that.
And when you say you've been profiled and branded, do you think you've been profiled was it by bad intentions, or is it something that actually needs to be sorted out?
It is something that needs to be sorted out, but you know, there's one big mistake in our county, SK. Some people think the cat rustling or banditry in Tiaty is a Tiaty problem. We are a family. We are one body of Baringo. If one hand is suffering, it will affect the rest.
The entire body.
Now you look at Baringo at the moment. Some regions in Tiaty some time ago were gazetted as disturbed. And what does that mean? No tourist comes
to Baringo.
No developer, no donor comes to Baringo. It affects the whole county. And therefore, every leader in Baringo should take upon themselves that this is our responsibility to fix this problem once and for all, than branding a whole community. I told you of Churo. Why can't we, even as the leadership of Baringo, convince the national government that zone Tiaty, Churo people, they are not concerned, I mean, they are not involved in cat rustling. The people of Tangul Bay, they are not. In fact, at Churo now, Churo is demarcated. We are only waiting for title deeds. That's a different place altogether. But now, I think, I may be right or not right. Maybe there are some political leaders who would want that branding to continue, so that when you deny me a position, the obvious excuse and reason is you go and talk to your people, you cattle rustlers, because why are we not keen on solving this problem or providing ways and means that this problem can be solved?
But this thing has been there for quite a long time. Since those days when there was a secession of the northern Kenya.
Yes.
And it included parts of Baringo going into Turkana, northeastern region. It's been prolonged for quite a long time. Now that it is coming up, what do you think is the ultimate solution to this cattle rustling issue?
Actually, I mentioned earlier on that disarmament of the mind is the solution, not guns. And how can this be done? Ensuring that you put up schools along that corridor, and particularly boarding schools. Because you may have even seen from drone pictures that the people who are involved in this are very young boys, all right? Take these ones to school. And not only put up schools, you also need to put up facilities, like health facilities around that the schools, sink boreholes around that place, or even, you can even have dams. You can construct dams for these people. Let them also engage in some irrigation. Because SK, the reason why the government is achieving very little, places like Silale, there are no structures, my friend. Those people have makeshifts.
I've been there. You can hardly see a house.
And really. Therefore, when the government, the central government, sends the military there, tanks, lorries, and what have you, choppers, those guys have moved to Samburu. So, why? Because they have nothing to lose. But when you put up schools and then give yourself time, it's a gradual transformation. Imagine if this was done during Moi's era. After today, cattle rustling will be a thing of the past.
You used to sit with the late President Mzee Moi.
Yes.
Discussing how to sort out cattle rustling issues in Baringo.
Yes.
Are those some of the strategies you were giving him as a president at that time?
Of course, those are some of the... No, what do you mean? He was not a president. I was not there when...
He had retired.
He had retired, so he was not a president. Yeah.
So, with the ideas that you have, why is the leadership of the day, maybe since 2002 coming up to now, why have they never implemented those thoughts? Because I'm sure you've shared those thoughts.
Let me reserve what I want to say, because it may bring other reactions. But let me tell you. Let me just give you an example of what happened in Laikipia some time ago. We had what we call peace caravan, spearheaded by this lady called Nashula, who is now a member of parliament. And also Mureithi, who is now the governor of Laikipia. And Tuko, who was a PS, and some other guys, and I was also involved. This involved the professionals, the educated people from those communities, Turkana, Pokot, and Samburu. Let me tell you, after that, there has been lasting peace up to today. That was like 2009, 2010. The same can be done to Baringo. And let me tell you, nobody bothers to involve church leaders in these peace initiatives. We only firefight in Baringo. When there's some raid, tunakutana Lake Bogoria. Who are these that matter? Now, sasa nyinyi wenyewe mnajiongelesha. Where are those guys? They are far away. They have taken the goats and the cows, and they are not in your meeting. So the thing is, get professionals from TRT, get church leaders from TRT, Get Council of Elders from Tiati, let them penetrate, and it should be an ongoing thing, not just firefighting when something has happened. Like now we have relative stability.
Yeah.
And we retreat to our cocoons.
We forget.
We wait until when it strikes again. It should be an ongoing thing, so that in the long run, the culprits would have been identified. And you know, Pokot, my friend, si watu wanakuambia maneno kwa chini ya mti ya baraza. You go to a place, slaughter oxen, yes, spend a whole night there, and by 3 a.m., that's when people will speak, and now speak the truth. That one is not an easy thing. But those are the methods that need to be put in place, alongside now education and evangelization.
Well, we'll come back to that when we get back from the break.
Yes.
I think you need a glass of water. You've really spoken a lot.
Yes.
So we are coming back. We should be able to discuss more on strategies to sorting out cattle rustling, and also to know whether Reverend Kuta is vying for a given political or elective position, now that it looks like he's negotiating on behalf of the community of the Tiati sub-county. So don't go away. Let's take a commercial break, then be back in a minute or two.
Kanisa letu la AIC kule Tiati yote wamenipatia ruhusa kuwa chaplain ya wanasiasa, na niliweza kujaribu mwaka wa 2017 tukiwa na gavana wetu na wale wengine wote wa Jubilee, lakini haikuwa mapenzi ya Mungu wakati huo. Lakini 2022 kama ni majaliwa ya Mwenyezi Mungu, ningeuliza maombi yenu watu wa Boito na eneo hili lote, ya kwamba mniombee Bwana aweze kunionekania pale, ili niweze kuwa dawa ya huyu mjumbe wetu ambaye kila wakati akinywa chai asubuhi ni kutusi Ruto, akikula lunch ni kutusi Ruto, akilala ni kutusi Ruto, ili niweze kuingia pale na watu wetu wa Tiati waweze kupata neno la Mungu, na pia waweze kupata maendeleo, na hasa wakati naibu wa rais tunatarajia kwa mapenzi ya Mungu atakuwa rais. Si angependa kufanya kazi na mtu ambaye ameongoza kama mimi. Kwa hivyo mimi ni kiongozi katika pale, na ningependa kumwambia tu mwenyekiti wetu Bwana Caleb Kositai ya kwamba hii popularity ya Kamke tunaona kwa media haiko kwa ground. Hebu kujeni ground, tufanye kazi kule Tiati ni Ruto. Hakuna mambo ya kando. Hiyo popularity ya media is just that ni ya media, si ya watu wetu. Watu wetu wanajua ya kwamba wanaungana na wenzao wa Baringo mzima, ya kwamba 2022 ni William Ruto. Nilifurahia sana vile ndugu wetu Reverend Kuta alivyosema ya kwamba we are no longer praying for God to show us who is going to be the president. We are thanking God that we have one whom the Lord has anointed. And therefore kazi yetu ni kuambia wetu wakate kura kwa wingi na kujitayarisha 2022 mwezi wa 8 wa mwaka huo itakuwa ni uapisho kule Kasarani kwa mapenzi ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Mungu aendelee kuwabariki. Asante rafiki yangu Bwana Lesodet ambaye alinisaidia sana wakati huo. Mungu akubariki sana. Asante sana.
Karibu tena.
Thank you.
Reverend, before, or rather when we were on a break,
yes,
you've seen a clip that played. But before we discuss that, the earlier clip, kuna mahali ulisema, there's a point that you said you would want other leaders, even including the national leaders, to come and discuss how they will sort out your interests as a community. What you even mentioned kwamba CUP, which I believe is a newly formed party. You said CUP pia itakutana na UDA kuendelea hivyo. Chama cha CUP, that sounds like pia wewe umehama. Are you in CUP as well? Kenya Union Party.
Okay, now,
yeah.
Me personally, I don't really attach importance to parties. I attach importance to personalities.
Okay.
Because so the issue of either CUP or UDA, in as far as I'm concerned, they don't matter so much. But answering your question, as a person, I am a believer of national parties.
Yeah.
And as a pastor, I've always been praying that I wish there would be a time in this country where we either amend the constitution or do the necessary to have either 3 parties or 2 parties like America.
Yeah. The Democrat
and the issue of negative ethnicity will be a thing of the past because you will need everybody. But unfortunately, SK, the people who are killing national parties are the very people at the top. Jubilee Party, the other day, it was a national party.
Very strong.
NASA, I was wishing it was registered into a party.
Yeah.
It has died. So all those have died. What has happened now? People are going to their ethnic cocoons. So CUP is no different from all these ones, other ones. You go to Central, everybody is almost having their party.
Yeah.
Even Nakuru here, everybody is like having their party. So that CUP is a party, I cannot say tribal, but national party, but led by a Pokot. All right? Of course, it has no far-reaching, effects because it's a new party.
Yeah.
And now, what informed the forming of CUP? It's what is happening in the country. Alfred Mutua, if I may mention him, he has his party.
Maendeleo chap.
When things are discussed, he's brought to the table as a party leader.
Yeah.
Wetangula party leader. Mudavadi party leader.
Third Way Alliance.
Everybody is having a party. And it's like now, it is the way that you have your party, you negotiate. You have your party, given something. The people of West Pokot, Professor Lonyangapuo was in Kanu. And if I wish you had time to discuss with him how he was mistreated.
While in Kanu.
Well, okay, he came with MCAs and all this, but there was a time when his nominated MCAs were all kicked out. Yeah? From Kanu.
I remember that.
And so he was annoyed. Now, I struggled. In fact, Kanu is not a very popular party. But in West Pokot, we have made it something. We have a governor, we have a senator.
MCAs.
And again, in Baringo here.
Yeah.
Kanu won 7 positions. And they got 4 nominations. 1 was given to Pokot, 3 were given to other people who did not even produce even 1. And that is actually what informed the formation of CUP. That yes, if everybody is going tribal and having their party for negotiation, we also have ours. So actually CUP, led by Lonyangapuo now, who is the kingpin of the Pokot, is actually having far-reaching impact even in Tiati. And the thing is, let's have ours and negotiate, try our luck and negotiate. Because earlier on, even those in Jubilee, because even Jubilee produced MPs. Yeah. Actually, all the MPs of West Pokot are Jubilee MPs. Nobody was given, no Pokot of West Pokot, which is a larger, it's a county.
Yep.
None of them was given even ministerial position, a CS position. All right? Nafikiri kuna moja tu alipewa PS. Okay?
Yeah.
But what informed that? Other people are the ones deciding. You have no say. Yours is only, you go begging. So now, Lonyangapuo, in his mathematics, said, if we have 250,000 votes, this can make a president go through or fail.
And we can use it.
And we can use it.
Negotiating.
And actually this captured Raila.
Yeah.
Raila's eye. And he went there.
The other day,
you saw what was happening.
Yes.
And that's why I was saying, even my friend Ruto, whom I pray that he becomes president, but I am also reading something very interesting with him. He's not accommodative. He's not you see, there's no way of saying, national party. It's not, UDA is not national party. You just formed it, but because you are popular nationally, that is why it's like a national party. It can still go back to the same smaller parties. So if I were him, he's my friend. If I were him, I could bring others also in. Yes, and that's why we were saying, even UDA, which is the party of my friend, should also consider bringing others in, even if it means negotiating and saying, jameni, able to weka hii shelf kidogo, tufanye hii. Lakini when you say, atutaki, nataka national party, and then somebody else is saying, karibuni, my friend, she has a about
So does that change your position? You were speaking in Boito, Eldama Ravine at a time like this last year, and you are of the opinion kwamba this is the party to go with. Have you changed your mind?
No, there was no party then. It's the person, not the party.
It is the person. No?
Yes.
You said you believe in the personality. Of the party.
Yes.
All right. Are you vying?
Since I spoke, si nimekuambia mimi ni pastor.
Yes.
Tena yule ameitwa vizuri.
Yes.
I went to pray and asked my intercessors to also pray.
Yes.
And the answer came later on. I should not vie.
So you are not vying for Tiati parliamentary
I'm not vying
seat?
For Tiati parliamentary seat now.
Yes.
2022, no.
Yes.
But I cannot rule out later on.
Okay.
And the reason, there are many reasons. Some I will maybe out of cameras, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But I am now engaged in 4 things which have informed my decision. 1, I don't know, maybe God just gave me a passion to write books.
And I was to ask you that.
And actually, in a few months, you will come for my launch, the launching of those books. 2 are ready. I'm only looking for resources to publish them.
Yeah.
I'm on the 3rd one. Second, then the other thing, I'm pursuing my PhD.
Pongezi.
I'm pursuing my PhD in church history from Africa International University. And then the other thing is that I would actually, beginning next year, if it were not of this corona, I told you, SK, that my passion even for looking for this position for member of parliament is to actually work closely with the churches toward the mental transformation of our people and even spiritual. So in the church I am in, we have a department of missions. We are actually determined to go evangelize Silale area and Kapedo, plant churches, install evangelists and pastors within that area. That is the passion I have for now. And I'm actually calling on all Christians, even within Baringo County, that yes, if we have been so concerned of transforming the people of Tiati, especially the unreached, where cat rustlers seem to reside, team up with us next year when we launch the Silale Mission Outreach. Even the sons and daughters of Baringo who are scattered across this globe, and they are believers, and they are passionate about seeing the transformation of Tiati. Please, I'm also asking them that when we start off, team up with us, so that as a church also, we play our role. And having said that, SK, doesn't mean that when I'm not contesting, that I'm shying away from supporting people who seem to carry a vision closer to what I have in my heart. Beginning with the senator, governor, women rep, and even member of parliament in my place, at least people who are passionate about seeing the genuine transformation of our people.
Well, that sounds like a solid plan for you. And we can only wish you well for that.
Thank you.
Back to a question that came in a few minutes ago. Nehemiah Chepcheng is asking,
Yes.
I wish to ask about harmful cultural practices that promote cattle rustling, like sapana.
Now,
Let me read out another one, and maybe you'll clarify if sapana is a harmful cultural practice. Kitilit Stanley, you're saying hello and say hi to Reverend. I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
That is Kitilit Stanley. Then Angole Kiroben Levis anasema, my Reverend Kuta, I'm happy when you talk about the missions. So already people are listening to what you're saying, and they're even ready to support what you're planning to do. There's a long one here from Modin Ruto. Anasema, SK Reverend Kuta is my neighbor. He is a humble man of God. He has a potential of transforming Tiaty, but Tiaty right now is a single place most people can't read and write. They still claim that some cultural activities like cattle rustling, FGM, are still in debate. Whether it's good or bad. There in short, for now, needs a ruthless prefect. That is an opinion on the kind of leadership Tiaty requires right now. So maybe you can respond to Nehemiah Chepcheng on sapana and the retrogressive culture.
That is a very good question from Nehemiah. And I'm sorry to say, SK, that for a very long time, even the government has always, perpetuated old theories, traditional theories that prompt cat rustling up to today. And as an insider of Tiaty, sapana is nothing. Cat rustling has evolved from a traditional activity to criminology. All right? I hear people say, these young men go raid and then they give us bride price, or they go and conduct their sapana. That is not true. And in fact, it may surprise you that a number of these small boys and even also others that are bigger, there's a big problem there of alcoholism. Most of them do not even take this livestock and keep them. They invade probably Arabal or northern Baringo. The cows are taken to the auction, sold, buy probably more ammunition, wait for another raid. These guys are not, so this is not a traditional method. This is not a traditional practice. And that's where we go wrong, because, we are trying to solve a thing using different parameters. We are trying to solve the cat rustling, the current cat rustling, using traditional methodology, which will not work.
So Nehemiah, you've gotten your answer. It's not much of a practice that promotes cultural rustling as such. Checking if there's any other question. Now, maybe back to your mission work. What is your plan like for anyone who is watching there and they're thinking of supporting you? How is your plan?
Okay, SK, when we will be launching, we will involve you.
And you will give a proper plan.
And we will give a proper plan.
Yes.
Because it was actually this corona thing that seemed to have, brought most things to a halt. All right. So beginning next year, God willing, we will actually give a proper plan on what we need to do.
On your passion of writing books,
yes,
what kind of content are you planning to put out there?
Actually, I will not give you the titles, because this Kenya is very interesting.
Just an overview. What content are you
actually one of them is that having joined politics, and of course as a clergy,
yes,
I've written a book that will actually, that I'm putting across ideas that challenge the church, the role the church can play toward the promotion of national cohesion and integration. Because all along we've been wrestling with negative ethnicity, and yet we are 80% Christian. Where is this problem coming? And so there are a number of things there. And also, what I've also noted in most churches, as a member of a church, you go to a church, all right? Maybe even you are a church elder, but you have no idea if your church is spiritually healthy or malnourished. So there's actually a book to that effect, actually indicators of a spiritually healthy church. What is this that characterizes, or what is this that determines what a healthy church is all about? So those are some of my discussions. And the third one I'm writing about is actually about Christian marriage. Many marriages are falling apart.
A lot, actually.
And so since I am an ordained minister who is marrying people, you said you've had me, wedding people, presiding over a number of weddings and counseling and all this.
Yeah.
So I also feel like my counseling and all that I've been doing, I should put them in a book.
Well, we can only wish you well on that, and we look forward to getting involved in the launch of those books.
Thank you.
As we finalize, we are like 6 minutes beyond our time.
Yes.
You realize 1 hour is very little.
Very little.
So we might need another time to come back and discuss more about leadership, politics, and the church. In summary, tuandikishane, what can you tell those who are vying for the top positions? Naona ulisema ya MCA MP hiyo tutatengeneza huko chini.
Hiyo ni ati hiyo.
And you actually spoke in your dialect.
Yes.
What can you tell those who are vying for Senate, women rep, and governor position?
Actually, this is what I will tell them.
Maybe you can speak to that camera.
Now, for those who are vying for the positions of governor, senator, women rep, my advice to you is that as you do that, have the whole Baringo at heart. Do not approach Baringo with a position that there are certain communities that need to be sidelined. And if I were you as a governor or women rep or even senator, I would actually go to Tiati, go to Baringo South, meet the people of those particular sub-counties. Because those positions require you to provide leadership to the entirety of the county within your own docket. And find out what they have in store for you. And also share your burdens with them. It may not necessarily be writing down in paper. You can write them in your heart if you are a trustworthy person. And then when you get to that position, because the people will always be, what you agree with the people will be a point of reference every other time. And 5 years are always very short. After 2027, they will come back. When you go back to them, and they will tell you did not fulfill any of those that you did agree with us. Yeah.
And on yesterday, Mheshimiwa Kamket, your MP now, was saying it's another time for the people of Tiati to do a social contract.
Yes.
With the leaders who are going to vie for the various positions. And that sounds like a continuation of what you're saying, tuandikishane.
Actually, you see, wacha nikwambie SK.
Yeah.
When you hear Pokot speak, the word is not theirs. It has gone through the entire land. And you meet the professionals, you meet the pastors of Tiati, you meet everybody the same language.
That maybe also justifies what Mheshimiwa Kamket was telling us during our interview with him. He was saying the Pokot community have, or rather do their things in a homogeneous way.
Yes.
They are homogeneous when it comes to making decisions.
Right.
Well, it's been 1 hour of conversation around the vote and the politics of interests, nipe, nikupe, pale Tiati. And with us here has been Reverend Kiuta. We've had in-depth conversations around what leaders need to do with regards to balancing the leadership positions should they get to be elected. And Tiati is saying we cannot wait until you're elected we need to do MOUs before and even after the election. They will need to revisit and get what you had agreed. Maybe before we wrap up, what are your last, or rather your closing remarks as we wind up the show?
Thank you so much, SK.
Yeah.
I just want to say a big thank you to you and your media house because of the good work you have rendered to the people of Baringo and even beyond.
Asante.
This is one of the media houses that is a favorite to actually almost all the citizens of Baringo.
Asante.
And so mine is only to pray that the Lord will continue to lift you and promote this work. And for our people of Baringo, let's pray for Tiati, especially believers. You know, it hurts me when I hear that people from my constituency have attacked certain places within Baringo. And yet, most of these people are my members in the church. It hurts me so painful, makes my heart bleed. So let's pray that God will bring a lasting solution, that Baringo will be restored to the very county that God intended it to be. Yeah.
Thank you. And moving forward, these conversations that we're having here will culminate into a debate. And I think the emotive issue of cattle rustling will be discussed at length. A governor, women rep, senator will have their opinion and how they are planning to tackle it. And I believe people like you, Reverend, will be given an opportunity to present your submissions, or rather you to give your submissions on how best this cattle rustling issue can be dealt with. And from us as Baringo News, we will strive always to give you an opportunity to interact with these leaders, get to hear, or rather listen to them, listen to their manifestos, their thoughts on how they lead this county. And in the end, we will be in a position to make informed decisions as a people of Baringo. Thank you. It's been an hour of conversation. I've been your host, Komen SK. Have a good night.